friends! Here we are, another installment of Cinderella phenomenon. Things are really heating up. Last stream, things got steamy. And I'm really excited to see what happens next, so let's get cracking. Chapter 9, The Witch Puppet. Ooh. Alright, here we go. And I looked it up. I was pronouncing Chevalier wrong. Chevalier. I've been pronouncing it Chevalier for some reason, so I guess that's fun. But Chevalier. I'm gonna do it right this time. Another long night. The two of us are on our way back to the March-In after visiting a clinic in town. We were there for hours, and it is a relief to be out in the open now, where I can feel the wind on my skin. Are you okay, Princess? I know that what you saw must have been difficult. I'm sorry I couldn't shield you from the majority of it. I volunteered to help Chevalier at the clinic part-time, but it is worse than I had expected. Many of the soldiers have severe wounds. I had thought that most of the injuries sustained by the knights during the upheaval were only minor, but I was wrong. Their injuries are much worse. Princess? He reaches out and laces his fingers through mine, then gives me a soft smile as he squeezes my hand. Are you okay? I'm fine. It has only been one day since the uprising at the palace. I had thought that there would be less blood. I was wrong. Is this what things were like after the Great War? I wasn't a fully certified doctor after the Great War, but I was an assistant. It was far worse than this, Princess. We cannot have a repeat of the Great War. I do not know why Mithros would kill Sir Alcaster and take the throne without claiming the crown, but the witches already have a bad name, and he is making it worse. I cannot help but remember the wide smiles Mithros gave me when I was still living in the palace. Every time I felt his eyes on mine, I felt there was something strange about him. There was always a cloudiness to his eyes, something unreadable. He was excellent at his job, but always an enigma outside of it. A sudden breeze chills my skin. Let's go back before you freeze out here. The two of us begin our walk back to the March-In. Thoughts of the palace, the king, and my stepfamily cloud my mind. Since I've been staying at the March-In, I've not seen Rod once. I was never sure if it was because he was ignoring me or if it was because he only wanted to speak to Parfait. Regardless, I hope Rod and his family are okay. Character development! I would never wish this treatment upon anyone, not even to ones I hated. As we walk, I glance up at Chevalier, whose head is tilted skyward. I catch the glimmer of lights in his eyes and smile. Even for just a moment, I can forget about everything when I am beside him. He has a way of taking the weight off of my shoulders. But as the crown princess, I cannot let others carry my burden for me. I must find ways to protect the others, even if it means putting myself in danger or harming someone in order to protect someone else. Oh no. What do you think is the easiest and fastest way to kill someone? Oh my god, that's quite a question to ask. Chevalier's body goes rigid beside me. He stops to stare at me, wide-eyed. I am asking in case I am ever in danger. I have never fought anyone before. I can retaliate, but I do not know how to actually harm anyone. To kill someone is to end a life. It is stealing away a life that others might love. You bear the burden of that death for the rest of your life. I pull myself away from him. But Mithros is not an innocent man. Would you rather he kill the royal family instead? No, it's not that, Princess. I know he must be stopped at any cost. It's just, I would never want you to have to kill someone. How would you know what it is like to kill someone? You've only ever helped people, not hurt them. I think he has a bad secret. You saw the soldiers in the clinic today. You saw how close some of them were to death. Did you see the hollow look in their eyes? I have seen that look many times. It is the look of a man who clings desperately to life. Every life is precious. And a life is still a life, whether it's vile or not. It is still a responsibility you have to bear. I know how valuable and fragile lives are because I have helped so many people. We stand quiet for a few moments, facing each other. I know I am at odds with Chevalier. I keep wanting to say Chevalier now. With Chevalier. He speaks the truth, but I also know that I speak my own version of the truth too. The world is a place where only the strong survive. People are kind, but they will take advantage of those who are too caring. Bria told me that Chevalier was so selfless he became selfish. She told me that he never had anything because he gave everything to others. His kindness has hurt others, and I fear that it has a likely chance to hurt him as well. What if his reluctance to hurt anyone causes him to be the one that is injured? Chevalier? If I mess up one more time, I'm just gonna start calling him Chevalier, and screw it. Chevalier breaks the silence. Most people think that the easiest way to kill someone is to stab them through the heart. Those people would be wrong. He puts his hand over his heart and stares dismally down at the ground. He removes his hand briefly, but only to reach for mine. Aww. He takes my hand and settles it on his chest, slightly to the left. I can hear the beating of his heart beneath my palm. It is soft and gentle. What can you feel besides the beating of my heart? The ribs? Yes. In order to stab the heart, you'd have to get through the ribs. That's why most of the soldiers in there who got stabbed in the chest are still alive. If you want to quickly kill someone, you have to stab somewhere where it would be difficult to stem the blood from a wound. Do you have any idea where that might be? Call me gross, but I'm pretty sure I know. The neck. Slash the neck open and you're done for. The skin under the neck is thinner, and you have lots of blood flow underneath the skin, going right to your head. It would most likely be easier to slice or pierce something more vulnerable in the neck without running into as much resistance. God, I can't speak today. Chevalier raises an eyebrow. Did you happen to pick that up around the clinic? No, I simply guessed. It's because I'm a writer, and sometimes I have to know those things for reasons that are embarrassing. Oh, hey! Well, I knew I was right, so I'm not surprised. Then you have a bright mind, princess. Chevalier moves my hand to the side of his neck. My fingers curl slightly when I feel his heartbeat reverberate beneath my fingers. This part is where you can find the jugular vein and the carotid artery. He runs my fingers down the length of it and I shudder. A mischievous smile brightens his face. Ooh! Not only does cutting at the neck stop blood from going to the head, but it also makes it spurt. Okay, are you trying to get dirty here, talking about spurting? If both the vein and the artery are cut, it only takes a minute to bleed to death. Thus, one of the best ways to kill a person would be through the neck. Why are you telling me all this now? I was just enlightening a new pupil with an anatomy lesson. An anatomy lesson? You asked me a question, I responded as a teacher. Chevalier's fingers loosen on my hand, and I grasp his hand tighter in response. Princess, I don't want you to have to bear the burden of a murder. But would you prefer me die? I promise that I'll protect you, so you don't have to defend yourself with violence. Well, you can't always be there, dude. I can't use a sword or magic, and I don't know how to fight, but I'll always be there to protect you. I may not have an abundance of muscles beneath these sleeves, but I am a doctor. No one knows the I don't think he's meaning to be this double entendre-ish, but no one knows the body better than I. So though it may not be heroic, I know how to hurt a person. Okay, I mean, awkwardly, like, straddling the line between, like, arousing, but frightening. His sincere expression, though pained, tells me that he is telling the truth. I do not want Chevalier to hurt a person either. It would destroy everything that he has worked toward as a doctor. He has seen so much suffering and yet always seems untouched by it. I will do anything I can to protect his positivity. The Marchen was quiet when we returned. Everyone had already disappeared into their rooms, so I went straight into mine. I also forced Chevalier to go back to his. He has been on his feet all day, and he needs the rest. I'm doing much better with the name. I plopped down onto my bed as soon as we returned home. I glanced briefly to the side where Chevalier's bouquet is in the vase Parfait had given to me. Oh, who is it? Who is it? Oh, Parfait. Come in. You've returned. Parfait looks paler than normal. I realize with the start that Chevalier did not tend to her at all today. Don't look at me like that. I'm fine. How are the soldiers at the clinic? Not good. Many of them have been gravely wounded. Some said they remembered magic. Others say they do not remember anything at all. A shadow falls over Parfait's expression as she sighs. So the circumstances are dire than we thought. It is a good thing Chevalier is there to lend a helping hand. Did you all manage to come up with a plan? It's proving more difficult than we anticipated. Delora and I are willing to put ourselves in danger. Waltz is too, because he can use magic to a certain extent. The knights and Karma have their blades. But Chevalier, I do not want to involve him in this. Because you're worried about him. Of course I am. You've grown, princess. You remind me of a younger Hildir. Oh. Back then, Hildir was both calm and resilient. One moment she could be smiling ear to ear. The next she could be strict and unmovable as the coldest ice. The two of us were like sisters. We did so much together. We learned together, explored the kingdom together. I can say with all certainty that we were the best of friends. And then the fairy tales happened. When Hildir killed the first human, she was corrupted. Her darkness swallowed her whole. I do not remember a time before Mother was corrupted, so I cannot imagine the woman Parfait describes. I know the old Hildir would have wanted to show you the beauty in things, princess. She would not want you to suffer. I'm sorry you became so embroiled in things. It was inevitable. It's so hard. I can imagine that it'd be so hard for Parfait because, that was her friend. And to be the two crystal bearers, man, to have to go from having a partner, someone who could share your burden with you, to being all alone, that sounds awful. It sounds terrible. If Delora hadn't cursed me, then I would still be in the palace, and I would be just as helpless as everyone else. So while I am out here, I have the responsibility to help everyone. I touch the incomplete glass slipper at my neck. I still haven't even done 3 good deeds. Don't look so sad. You will complete your 3 good deeds and things will go back to normal. And of course, you'll still have friends here when you return. And come your 18th birthday, Delora and I will teach you about magic. Walt is eager to help too. But for now, our top priority is a plan. Rest easy, princess. Things will work out. It is hard to believe that this problem could be so easily solved, but I will try to believe. When Parfait leaves, I am left to my own thoughts. I hope everyone at the palace is okay and that they can hold on until we come up with our plan, but I feel like we are already running out of time. Oh, and here's the character card. Days go by and I find myself assisting Chevalier at times. Other times I remain at the Marchen to help conceptualize a plan. None of our plans have actually shown any promise yet, but with all of our minds put together, we should be able to come up with something. A week later, I find myself standing outside the clinic door, waiting for Chevalier. I'm sorry to have kept you waiting, princess. You can drop the title, April, but you are a princess in my eyes. Yes, but you do not need to address me by title. Just my name is fine. Chevalier reaches out to take my hand, then immediately pulls his hand back, eyes wide. I forgot it. Forgot what? The medicine that I needed for parfait. Give me a moment, April. Ooh. Chevalier plants a quick kiss on my forehead before running inside. I stare at the stars as I wait. Oh, something bad's gonna happen. Oh no. I turn, but see no one walking around the plaza. I inch closer toward the door of the clinic as I take another look around. Boo. I suddenly see the silhouette of a man. He takes a few more steps toward me and then stops in front of me. I recognize him immediately. His appearance left quite an impression on me the first time. That's the guy who looks like, Fritz. Out by yourself at night. Certainly you know that wolves prowl these streets at night. What do you want? I take a step back and press myself to the door. I reach for the door handle, but the man reaches out a hand to grab my wrist, holding it to the door. I'd say my answer to that question is complicated, princess. By the expression on your face, I must have hit the nail right on the head, eh? You are the princess. How do you know who I am? That is part of the mystery, isn't it? I attempt to wrestle my wrist out of his fingers. Come with me quietly, and you won't get hurt. Absolutely not. Scream for help. I refuse to go anywhere with him. I open my mouth to scream, but before I can even breathe, the man's hand flies to my mouth. You're a disobedient one, aren't you? I struggle against his grasp. It does not take long for the grin to fall from his face. It is replaced with a look that lacks any amusement. I enjoy seeing you struggle, but I'm afraid we've been out here for too long. I bang my shoulder against the door, and a resounding creak follows my attempt. Well, thank goodness. I can't imagine that it would be a good idea for me to go quietly anyway. Ugh. No more Mr. Nice Guy. I like that song from the Swan Princess. Like, no more Mr. Nice Guy. No siree. Sorry, total mood killer. The man opens a small vial right in front of my face. Something sweet wafts in the air, and I suddenly feel myself falling into darkness as I collapse. Crap! Wait. What? Where am I? I glance around I'm in my room. Remember I made fun of how all the princesses look like they could be Disney princesses? Like Belle, Tiana, we've got Rapunzel and Cinderella, obviously, there. My room. I look around cautiously, checking to see if anything in my room is different. The last time I was here was before I was cursed. How is it that this room is the same? Sleeping Beauty has awoken. That's not me. I'm not Sleeping Beauty. I move to stand up before realizing that my legs are numb. Shame to see you so easily tamed, princess. And here I thought you would be fun. I glance up to look at the man who is now standing right at my bedside. How do you know who I am? Are you a witch? A witch? Me? Ha! He bursts into laughter. I would rip the witches to shreds if I could. If he could, then you are cursed? The man simply smirks at me but says nothing in response. He brushes the words aside with the gesture of his hand. Are you working for Mithros? Probably. I glare at his vague answer. My name is Varg. Maybe Fritz's brother? And I have been assigned to be your personal knight. I already have a personal knight. Oh, you mean Fritz? I got rid of him. You! No playing with the queen's daughter, Varg. Mithros enters the room. Now he stands in the doorway, eyeing the both of us with a smile that is so oddly reminiscent of his usual one that it makes me sick. Mithros. Princess, you look more and more like your mother every day. Why, the scowl on your face is almost a perfect reflection. He moves to stand in front of me. At the same time, Varg begins to take slow and careful footsteps to the edge of my room. What have you done with everyone? Inconsequential or consequential? What? Mithros clicks his tongue impatiently. Inconsequential or consequential people? I narrow my eyes at him. I have no idea who he defines as inconsequential or consequential. Where are the king and the rest of the family? Where is Fritz? Were you the one who killed Sir Alcaster? Wait, Sir Alcaster was Fritz's dad, right? Ah, crap. Ah, inconsequential and consequential then. Well, to start, your knight is gone, princess. I've replaced him with Varg here. And Alcaster, well, we had a common cause at first. We both wanted the crown. Sir Alcaster was also betraying the king? But Alcaster was a brute. He wanted to needlessly kill the royal family and steal the crown for himself. At first I had thought he was calm and calculating. But it turns out that he was just a power-hungry fool. Though I did want to take the crown, I wanted to avoid the bloodshed of certain important people. Mithros smiles at me. It is a look that makes my blood run cold. So I disposed of him and the rest of his knights. Oh, but don't worry, princess. I assure you that your family is resting in their rooms, just like you are resting in yours. What? Oh, do not worry. You will see them shortly for dinner. I have my doubts about Mithros' story, but if what he said was true, then Sir Alcaster wanted to kill the royal family and Mithros saved them. But then he decimated the knights and took the royal family hostage? Why would he do such a thing? They're prisoners then. Prisoners in their own home? Ha! Nonsense! We're all just awaiting the Queen's return together. The Queen. Slowly, I feel the pieces beginning to fit together. The Queen. He cannot be talking about Ophelia. No, he's talking about my mom. Delora. Do you think witches are capable of bringing back the dead? Oh, Mother is dead. Is she really? Oh, you can bring Mother back from the dead? We can, Princess. The Queen has been resting for a long time, waiting for you to gain your powers so that you can help her escape her prison. You are not making any sense. I struggle to keep my words from faltering. How is Mother alive, and what does he mean by prison? The Tenebrarum is the Queen's prison. It is linked to the Queen's power. Though others presumed she was dead, the Queen sealed the last of her powers inside the crystal. All she requires is your power, Princess. My power. When you become the next bearer, you will have the ability to release the Queen from her prison. My birthday's in a week. That is when I meant to take on the responsibilities of becoming the bearer, though Parfait and Delora never went into more detail beyond that. You'll finally get to see your mother again, Princess. I still cannot quite take in everything he has just said. However, if Mithros had approached me before the curse, I would have helped Mother in a heartbeat. But it was Mother who was the last Tenebrarum bearer, and the one who brought darkness to Angiel. I once believed that Mother was the only person to ever love me. Now I know I was wrong, that she shut me in from a world that I should have known. But still, even now I wish she was here. I take a deep breath. But I cannot afford to be selfish. I cannot put anyone else in danger. I will not help you. You don't have a choice, Princess. I have set the stage for my Queen's return. All that's left is to free her from her cage. We will speak of this, more of this at the dining table. Mithros leaves the room, leaving me briefly with Varg. Varg smiles at me beneath his mask, singular, then brings his index finger to the temple of his head and loops it. He mouths the word crazy You said you would tear witches apart, so why do you serve Mithros? A good question. You are not going to answer me. How perceptive of you, princess. He smirks at me before following Mithros out the door. I am once again left by myself in the room. Everything Mithros just told me swirls through my mind. My mother, alive. And he killed everyone, only to take the crown and keep it for her. A shudder runs through my body. She cannot return. I spend the next hour looking around my room for things that might aid in my escape. I know where everyone else's rooms are too, but I have no idea how heavily guarded they are, and I doubt I could help them. I must return to the March Inn. I test the window, but it is locked, probably with magic. I search my shelves. The dolls that used to comfort me can do nothing for me now. Last, I check my drawers, but though there are many things in them, there is nothing that looks like it could help me escape. As I am searching, I come across a box and pause to pick it up. Okay, wings. I remember this. It was given to me by Mother with strict instructions not to open it and always keep the key hidden. I search the drawer again for the key. The moment I begin to set the box down, I see a small golden key at the bottom of the drawer. I pick it up and am about to open the box when I stop. This is hardly a priority right now. I set the key down next to the box. I should be searching for a way to escape. I turn to see Varg's smiling face at the door. You look like a criminal who's just been caught doing something naughty, says the criminal himself. Maybe we're meant for each other. I narrow my eyes as he approaches. Behind his back, I can make out the open door. Don't even think about it. You don't want me to pounce on you in the hallways, do you? That would be unpleasant. Varg grabs my wrist. I attempt to struggle free, but he holds tight to me. I will be your escort to dinner tonight. You will join me for dinner. That is not a request! Slam. Like Beauty and the Beast. I keep my head held high as Varg escorts me from the room. On the way to the dining hall, I glimpse the rest of the palace. It is mostly empty, save for a few soldiers. The soldiers that do stand there have a glazed look in their eyes and look right through me. Puppets. A spell cast by Mithros? Varg does not answer me as he pulls me through the hallway. Soon, I find myself in the dining hall. The guards usually standing by the walls are gone. Now there is only the royal family, and they seem to be unharmed. You. Ugh! I can see recognition in the king's eyes. My heart flutters as he stands, or tries to. He manages to rise, but only just barely. I notice that his feet stay firmly planted where they are. Everybody's bodies look exceptionally stiff. Is this some kind of spell? Does he know who I am? No. You are the girl who was outside my palace months ago. Mithros, what is the meaning of this? I notice that the king is not at the head of the table as usual. Everyone sits on the table's sides, except for Mithros, who is at the far end. The king's seat, however, is clear. I simply brought back the crown princess. You should be thanking me, Gennaro. I have reunited you with your daughter. My daughter? The king raises an eyebrow, clearly skeptical. I can see in his eyes that he is loath to trust anything Mithros has to say. Maybe it's a good thing he doesn't know who I am. It could save him from trouble. The king slumps in his chair as Varg leads me to a seat just beside Rod. I notice Emmeline sitting just to Rod's side. She forces a smile onto her face, but I can see tears gathering in her eyes. Allow me to offer a more formal introduction for our guest, even though you all know her. Her name is April Riella Britton. She's the crown princess of Angiel. And your blood daughter, Gennaro. Oh, the king looks at me again. This time there is more uncertainty in his gaze. Prince Rod will tell you, won't he? Rod? Rod looks at me, his gaze quiet but expectant. I turn to the king and to the rest of my step family. I feel like if I lie to him, I'll be protecting him. But on the other hand, maybe if he knows that's... No. Hopefully it'll keep them safe. They won't do anything to help me or to stop me if they don't know who I am. Oh, okay. There's no point in trying to convince the king of my birthright here and now. I would only confuse him more, and now is not the time or place. I glance at Mithros, who is smiling at me expectantly. Plus, that's what Mithros wants. He wants me to admit it. So I do not want to do what he says. I don't want to do what he wants. I glance at Mithros, who is smiling at me expectantly. Besides, Mithros must have a reason for insisting on my birthright right now. Exactly. Most likely, he just means to confuse the king more. If that is the case, I will not play into such a petty scheme. My name is April. Thank you for your kindness that one time. Oh. Rod looks shocked. I scowl at him before turning to look at Mithros. Mithros' smile has twisted into a frown. I feel proud in seeing him caught off guard. I don't see a little thing in the corner, though. I might have made a wrong choice. Oh! Spoke too soon. April, what are you doing here? Gennaro, she is undoubtedly your daughter. That is why she's here in the room that you have been taking care of. What? The king's eyes widen. He looks at a loss for words. Princess, the king has been keeping your room clean and tidy for the sake of nostalgia, and he has no idea why. Magic works in interesting ways, doesn't it? I was wondering why my room was unchanged. But could it be that the king remembers me somehow? I look up at him, but he's already glanced away from me, his expression a complicated twist of confusion and helplessness. It seems that even the king does not fully understand. I turn to Mithros. It can work in both good and bad ways. Ah, yes. The fairy tale curse is terrible, isn't it? I catch Varg's eyes from the side of the room. He glances away from me, and I follow his gaze to the corners of the room. I hadn't noticed them before, but now I see cloaked figures hiding in the shadows. Witches. They must be the ones holding everyone in the palace if they try to escape. But not all magic is terrible, like the magic we will use to revive the queen. You are insane. Hildir is mad. You have no right to refer to her by name. A sudden chill envelops the room. I can feel actual icicles on the table. I pull my hands away. Now, we are going to eat dinner, and we are going to enjoy it. And every day will be just like this until the queen returns. Rod glares across the table at Mithros. Why? Why would we not enjoy dinners together? That's not what I meant. Why go through this charade day after day? I stare across the table at Mithros, glaring. I already told you before. I had to clear this place of traitors. Alcaster planned on stealing the crown, and I stole it back. But because the time of the Queen's revival is so close, I've decided to keep the crown with me until I can return it to its appropriate owner. Queen Hildir is the true owner of the crown. I thought it best that we all wait out her arrival together. But know this, when my queen demands it, I will kill all of you. I simply refuse to act without her orders. This time, guards come into the room with food. They set it before us, and we are forced to eat beneath Mithros' watchful gaze. Though I try to spot an opening in the dining hall, I can find no way out. This really is a prison. 2 days pass. I have been searching for ways out and trying to ease more answers out of Varg and Mithros. Neither of them is very forthcoming. Both enjoy speaking in riddles. Varg especially is an enigma. Whenever I try to ask him about Fritz, he smiles at me and remains silent because he's connected to Fritz. He looks exactly... His character design is exactly like Fritz. I think he... Ooh, pardon me. I think he is Fritz, to be quite honest. And I think maybe Fritz has a fairy tale curse, and has something to do with it. What? Not gonna try asking me any questions tonight? I am not going to get any answers from Varg, and it is almost my birthday. I need to find a way out of here. I'm disappointed. You're the only fun I have in here, Princess. Maybe if I'm quiet, he will leave me alone. If you're just gonna be quiet and sulk, I guess I should be going. Remember, don't try anything funny. There are knights just outside your door. Varg bows mockingly. He leans down to pat me on the head before he turns and leaves. I cannot give up. I once again begin my search through the room. Time is running out, and there's nothing I can do besides search for a way out. But I know that if I leave the room, the knights will catch me immediately. If I had a weapon, I might stand a chance. I put my fingers to my neck and remember what Chevalier told me about it. Sleep. The sound comes from outside my door. It is a woman's voice. Delora? The door opens and suddenly, Chevalier and Delora are both in my room. Yes! Yes! Okay. Princess. I am startled to see Chevalier standing in front of me, his eyebrows drawn over his eyes with great worry, and beside him stands Delora with her arms crossed. Well, aren't you a sight for sore eyes? We're here to stage a daring rescue. I rush to Chevalier and wrap my arms around him. He puts a hand on the small of my back and smiles down at me. We're gonna get you out of here, Princess. How did you both get in here? With the power of magic. Dramatic, even at a time like this. The two exchange a look before looking at me seriously. Parfait, Waltz, the Knights, and Karma are all here. We thought we'd just be fighting witches, though. We weren't expecting the Knights. No matter what we said, we couldn't get through to them. They're under a spell. Mithros. He wants to release Mother. Both of them look at me with confusion. What? Mother is still alive, just inside the Tenebrarum. Mithros wants to bring her back. That is impossible. The Queen is alive? Chevalier looks worried, while Delora's expression is more rigid and irresolute. We cannot let that happen. I don't know how the Queen would be alive in the first place, but... well, we'll worry about that later. Right. We have time later to discuss the specifics of everything, but right now we need to get out of here. Right. Everyone is keeping the guards and witches busy for you, Princess. I'll distract Mithros. Chevalier, I'm counting on you to get the princess to safety. That's why I'm here. Princess, can you guide me through the palace? I cannot just leave everyone here. Don't worry. Garland is seeing to saving your family. No, I cannot just leave everyone in the march in here to do things for me. April, we cannot afford to lose you. I told you I would do anything to protect you, and I will. The sooner you're safe, the sooner we'll have the advantage. You are the legitimate heir to the throne and the next Tenebrarum bearer. You cannot let yourself remain in Mithros' hands. The situation is indeed most dire, so for now we must hurry. I nod my head feebly. Without another word, the three of us head toward the door. Delora exits first and stops immediately. I almost run into her. I glance through the doorway and see Varg waiting just outside, holding a blade against Delora's neck. What? Delora holds up her hand and deflects the sword as it slides harmlessly past her neck. Oh, thank God. Varg slides away, still holding out his sword. His usual smirk is half-hearted at best. Get out of our way. You're awfully demanding, aren't you? Pretty please. No can do, my lady. Shame. Looks like I'll have to destroy that pretty mask of yours along with everything else underneath. Whew. Delora holds up her hand and summons a wall of electric orbs. With a flick of her wrist, she sends them rushing toward Varg, who dodges with surprising speed. Varg's movements appear sluggish, but I have seen his fast reflexes. He is playing with Delora, even though I do not think he has the advantage. He drops the sword, and for a few moments I see Delora has the advantage. Then suddenly he raises the cane he usually holds at his side and taps it on the ground. A burst of smoke escapes the bottom of it, shrouding the room. An enchanted cane. You're not the only one with tricks up your sleeve. Delora! Chevalier, get her out of here. Let's go, princess. Chevalier takes my hand in his and begins to lead me away. I turn to glance back at Delora and Varg and realize that while Delora is completely on the offensive, Varg does nothing but dodge. It is as if he is trying to buy time for something. I banish the thought from my head as Chevalier pulls me down the hall. How rude. Haven't you heard of chivalry? I spot Karma, still in his dress, holding a sword out at the man in front of him. When the man lunges, Karma dodges back and grunts as his back comes to the wall. I suppose chivalry is dead then. He steps off to the side as the possessed knight attacks him with his blade. The sword catches his dress, but does not hinder him from stepping forward and aiming a jab with his sword beneath the knight's armor. The knight kneels, but the sword does not fall from his hand. Karma looks up at us sharply. What are you doing, just standing there? Move! Ugh. It takes me a moment to realize that just as I was frozen, so too was Chevalier. His face is pale as he grabs my hand again and once again starts rushing me down the other end of the hall. Chevalier's steps are wider than mine and I have to struggle to keep up. But the further we go down the hallway, the more apparent it becomes that there are too many obstacles in the way. We pass Jurian and Garland as we move too, and they manage to clear away a path for us. These knights, will they not stop moving until Mithros is defeated? I hope the king and everyone else is safe. As we pass Jurian and Garland, I tell them where the royal family is, but I have no way of knowing if the words reach their ears amidst all the sound. Oh my god, I'm stressed out. Chevalier. So the stab wounds in the armor that I saw earlier were from the knights themselves. But why would they battle each other? What? The punctures in the armor that we saw at the clinic. The stab wounds in the gut and at the arms. Chevalier's eyes are so distant, it is as if he is looking right through me. We need to keep moving. I take his hand and lead him forward. I do not know what he was talking about, but we can talk about this later. Right now we have to escape. We are closer to the palace entrance when we see them. A group of knights stand in two lines on both sides of the hall, facing each other. At the far end of the hallway stands a gaggle of witches, and in between them, Mithros. Good evening! Did you enjoy your stroll around the palace? Chevalier immediately moves to stand in front of me. The cloudiness is gone from his eyes, but what leaves his mouth is not a demand, but a question. How could you do this? How? It was quite easy actually. You know what I mean. Why would you make the knights fight one another? What a foolish question! Obviously, it is because they are inconsequential. Ugh. On a stage, some pawns exist as easily replaceable extras. I am interested in keeping only the actors. In the grand scheme of things, the extras aren't needed. In fact, I can make them do whatever I need in order to get the best outcome. He snaps his fingers and the knights raise their swords. I tense, thinking that the knights are going to turn on us, but they never do. Here's an interlude for you to enjoy. The knights are attacking each other. The sound of metal ringing against metal fills the air. The knights' swords arced, dive, and stab. Mithros watches from behind them, the sly smile never leaving his lips. The two of us can only stand there, stunned into silence. It isn't long before we can see red. The smell of blood begins to linger in the air as swords cut through flesh. Abruptly, I snap to my senses. I attempt to move forward, but Chevalier remains firmly grounded. Chevalier! I heard many things about the doctor working at the clinics. I heard that he was a volunteer who had assisted in helping the injured during the Great War. I also heard that, until recently, he had been cursed. I knew immediately upon seeing you that you were that volunteer. I suppose it is unavoidable that you and the princess know each other. But to think you would be so close. Chevalier just stares blankly ahead. He looks almost like he is under a spell. His eyes are glazed. No. I continue to call his name. His eyes follow the sword movements of the knights, and he does not even spare me a glance. No. Have I unraveled the doctor? Oh no! I don't want to stop, but I have to. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, thank you guys so much for joining me today. Feel free to follow me on the relevant social media. I'm linking below. Like, subscribe, comment, do your thing, and hopefully I see you at the next one. I cannot wait to play the next one. I'm dying. Yeah, and thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you watching. Bye!